Hello, my friends. We're back with my faithful sidekick, Bernie, and today we're looking into allegations of fraud and non-payment of payroll for employees working at the Trucker's Paradise truck stop in Gainesville, Texas. You've heard the hype: free parking, mobile fueling, mobile truck washes, food courts, convenience store, and hotel-like showers. It really does sound like a trucker's paradise. But behind the scenes, there may be more going on than what meets the eye.
Yep, before we talk about what may or may not be going on there, we got to dig into who's running this show. Who is Dean Ash and who is Alex Mai, better known as the Mutha Trucker? Because motives matter. So, what do we know about Dean Ash? Well, in all honesty, this guy does appear to be a little shady to me. A look-see at his self-made LinkedIn profile says he's the Chief Executive Officer of All American Truckers Paradise. His LinkedIn profile also shows he was a franchise owner with Northwestern Mutual Life from 1992 to 1997, and then entered the Navy for an enlistment from 1998 to 2003, for which I thank him for his service. However, the burning question is, why would you join the Navy if you were a successful franchise owner with Northwestern Mutual Life for 5 years prior to enlistment?
Yeah, I know, Bernie. That caught my eye as well. I took a closer gander at his profile and must admit there are some really shady stuff going on there. And the weird thing is that this guy, Dean Ash, has come out of nowhere and has been making the rounds on the podcast circuit. I stopped counting after the first 12 podcast shows listing Dean Ash as a guest, talking about this new truck stop called the Trucker Paradise. And the really bothersome thing is that it doesn't seem like any of those podcast hosts did their homework on this guy, or even bothered to make sure he was on the up and up. Makes you wonder if his appearances on those podcast shows were basically paid advertisements. Stay with me now, because this is where it starts to get a little weird. Dean Ash wrote on his LinkedIn profile that after leaving the Navy in 2003, he founded a business to handle returned check collection and bank card ACH processing called Integrated Business Solutions that same year in 2003 until 2012. A search of the internet showed there is a company named Integrated Business Solutions that is an Egyptian company and appears to be a web design business. And there is another company by the same name that is based in Utah and was started by a woman in 1995. However, I could find no company with that name and Dean Ash listed as the founder. Maybe they are no longer in business, because there is literally nothing on the World Wide Web showing a company by that name that was founded by anyone named Dean Ash. His self-made LinkedIn profile then shows from 2014 to present, he has founded 3 more organizations that, according to his LinkedIn profile, are all operational and still run by him. They are Prosperity Transport Inc., which he says he founded in 2014, Altfund LLC, which he wrote he founded in 2019, and All American Truckers Paradise, which he founded in 2024. I checked with the FMCSA, which operates the safer.fmcsa website and is used to check on who is legally licensed to do what. The FMCSA official website shows Prosperity Transport Inc. as only having 1 truck and is currently in a not authorized status. The address listed with the FMCSA for Prosperity Transport Inc. is Langdon Place, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. However, a check of that address shows what appears as a townhouse or apartment.
And then there is Altfund LLC, which Dean Ash says he founded in 2019. According to Mr. Google, there is no such company as Altfund LLC. There is a Altfund Distributors LLC, which is a licensed securities broker that was founded in 2008 and is based in New York. There's an Altfund Management LLC, which is another securities broker and is based in Frisco, Texas, and was founded in 2022 by Ed Gillen and Bobby McFarland. And finally, there is Altfunds Global, which was founded by Timur Zamanis in 2014 and is now a Swiss-based financial advisory firm. But alas, no company named Altfund LLC that was founded by anyone named Dean Ash.
Overdrive has a story about Dean Ash that says the idea for the Trucker's Paradise truck stop started when a trucking friend of his, a car hauler, stayed with Ash in Dallas after losing his rig. That friend told Ash about hardships on the road, which is strange in of itself because if Dean Ash was the founder of Prosperity Transport Inc., he should already know about the hardships of being on the road as a truck driver.
And that is where my spidey sense first went off. What we don't see from Dean Ash is any kind of real history in trucking operations. Ash says he never had a CDL, never driven a big rig. Yet the FMCSA shows Prosperity Transport Inc. as a single truck operation and is currently in a not authorized status with the owner working out of his home in Illinois. Most folks exaggerate somewhat when making out resumes and/or profile pages, but obviously, this guy, Dean Ash, appears to have went way overboard with the exaggerations to the point of seemingly being out-and-out lies.
That's not necessarily fatal, but it means he's more a promoter and an opportunist trying to make a buck than he is with any real experience in the trucking industry. His strength seems to be in branding, sales, and peddling bullshit.
That also makes the idea of funding, grants, media hype, and strategic partnerships all that much more critical. If you don't have many years of real trucking management experience under your belt, your leverage will have to come from the story you are able to weave and paint into place, along with the connections you have managed to make via the hype you're able to produce. In other words, you had better be a good snake oil salesman.
Now, Alex Mai, Mutha Trucker, is a name many truckers know. But what's his background?
FreightWaves lists him as having 10 years driving experience as an owner-operator in the moving van segment of the trucking industry. While still working as a moving van driver, he started making YouTube videos. He caught lightning in a bottle with his almost daily videos and became hugely popular. The YouTube success allowed him to walk away from driving a truck to making videos full-time and moving on to building Mutha Trucker News.
In interviews, he says he grew up moving furniture with his uncle during the summer months, then later decided to run his own truck. Going by everything I have seen and heard, he seems like one of the good guys in the industry.
He says he had a full-time job as a Walgreens assistant manager making $13 an hour prior to getting into trucking.
He turned to social media. He filmed his life on the road, interviewed drivers, and built up Mutha Trucker. He claims the channel really took off when he focused on other drivers' stories rather than himself.
He also formed a partnership with the founder of Big Rig Tees, a trucking apparel brand, which boosted his industry connections.
Now, some will point out the fact that he doesn't have any real-world experience in the trucking industry outside of driving. And he openly admits he lacks any business training or business experience before partnering up with Dean Ash in this Trucker's Paradise enterprise.
Having contacts and having a platform works well in YouTube and social media as a means of communication and getting the word out to folks about various topics of your choosing. But managing construction costs and expenditures, meeting and running payroll, dealing with real estate estimates and tax liabilities, and handling big capital investments and expenditures, that's a different ballgame altogether. If not careful, you can lose your shirt along with your pants, your shoes, and your socks.
Here's the plot twist. On the OOIDA podcast, Dean Ash mentioned wanting to tap into government funding. He said he had a friend connected to Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy who might help with funding.
That's the part that raises some eyebrows, including mine. Mainly because federal grant programs today are looking to reward projects that expand truck parking capacity. If you're showing you're already building something big with free parking, that narrative helps your pitch for government funding.
Add in media interviews, Natso podcasts, and YouTube videos posted by Alex Mai of Mutha Trucker. And the picture starts to come into focus. You're trying to build visibility. Visibility is currency when you're asking government agencies for money or applying for grant programs. It looks like visibility was the reason that Dean Ash partnered up with Alex Mai of Mutha Trucker, who already had a huge trucking platform voice to sway drivers to visit and drive business to the Trucker's Paradise.
Having visibility in the media often tends to add legitimacy to whatever you are talking about, real or not. If the FMCSA or DOT can be convinced that the Trucker's Paradise put the government's truck parking problem, that can sway the decision makers into approving government grants and public funding.
Here's the hard question. Is this entire venture a sincere effort to help drivers? Or is it partly structured so that Dean Ash and his partners could cash in via government grants, public funding dollars, and media hype?
It might be both. You can care about drivers and also play the funding game aggressively. Just because he has good intentions doesn't mean every move he makes is altruistic with the goal of looking out for others.
Then in September 2025, the payroll crisis hit. Multiple trucking sources reported employees working at the Trucker's Paradise had been missing payroll checks for months. Dean Ash allegedly told them they would be paid Monday, then Tuesday rolled around and no paycheck again. Some employees claim they're owed $2,000. Employees say the first time a paycheck was missed, they told themselves, "It was nothing because this stuff happens." But now that it's happened over and over, their personal financial situations are becoming dire. This past week, all employees were called into a company meeting where they expected to be paid. Instead, they were met with more excuses.
The response from Truckers Paradise to employees? They were told one of their investors had unforeseen personal circumstances that slowed the flow of funding. They said they're working to bridge the gap and apologize to staff. Quote, "It was one of the investors was on vacation," I think was the first excuse. The second excuse, he told everyone it was a medical issue, said Nicholas Henry, a former employee. "We have electric bills, water bills, no money for gas, and no groceries. We live paycheck to paycheck." And Dean Ash told us, "Well, I know how you feel." And I said, "No, sir, you do not," said current employee Deborah Davis at the meeting. "They told me this is Texas. It's a free work state, so they don't need a reason to fire me," said Joanna Ross, a past employee.
That's the classic funding excuse. If you're depending on one investor or one grant to cover operations, that's a fragile model. Dean Ash did release this statement about the situation. Truckers Paradise was created to provide truck drivers with the quality amenities that are too often missing in the industry. Repurposing a former outlet mall into this one-of-a-kind facility has proven to be a larger and more complex undertaking than originally anticipated. Recently, one of our investors faced unforeseen personal circumstances that temporarily slowed the flow of funding. While our remaining partners are working to bridge this gap, the situation has unfortunately resulted in a delay to payroll. We deeply regret the impact this has had on our employees, and ensuring they are paid remains our highest priority. We are grateful for the dedication of our team members who continue to support drivers during this time, and we sincerely apologize for the hardship this has caused. He went on to say, quote, "Additionally, we want to be clear that any threats made toward the company, staff, or leadership are being taken seriously and are being addressed with the appropriate authorities."
On a different note, in early media interviews, Dean Ash made this statement concerning truck drivers, quote, "For short resets of the 34-hour rule, free parking always." But later there was talk of starting a truck parking club that would charge $15 per day. That shift hints at monetization beyond just government grants and services. Gotta give it to Dean Ash, though. He was smart enough to pounce on the government's need for truck parking and brought in Alex Mai of Mutha Trucking to help build the hype via YouTube and media messaging to drive business to the Truckers Paradise. The free parking hook sells well to both truckers as a means of generating business and also sells well to government agencies in charge of funding and grants. There are no public records as of yet with regard to government funding or grant awards, but it shouldn't be long.
So here's where we are. Dean Ash appears to be basically a salesman with big ambitions. He doesn't have any real experience in the trucking industry, and that might translate into a huge problem if he can't relate to truck drivers with regard to their wants and needs. Alex Mai of Mutha Trucker built a huge online following on YouTube with his videos and is trying to make a move, with limited business experience, into the world of real business management. Together, they married media hype as a means of garnering government funding to finance their project. Will it work?
But several questions remain unanswered. Did Dean Ash and Mutha Trucker overpromise? Did they lean too heavily on the hopes of getting government funding? And are they losing the day-to-day operations battle to stay afloat? The workers say yes.
You be the judge. Was this a true mission to help truck drivers, or basically a high-stakes bet to cash a winning ticket by hopping aboard the public money train and using media hype to gain attention?
In truth, the trucking industry needs all the truck parking it can find. However, rules and regulations must be taken into account. There has to be oversight to make sure the public funds and monetary grants are spent wisely. Hopefully, all decisions will take into account the economic realities that exist while still prioritizing public safety.
We are trying to grow this channel to help truck drivers along with educating the general public. You can help us out by smashing that like button and the notification bell. Remember to subscribe and share this with another driver. Protect your load, protect your rig, and protect yourself.
Leave us a comment below with your thoughts and ideas. If it's a good idea, we will share it with everyone. Subscribe for more trucking truth, and together we'll keep hammering this issue till somebody listens. Well, my friends, stay safe and stay loaded out there. Catch you on the rebound. Remember to keep that left door closed and your hands on the wheel.